Well, for the first time in my entire career, I'm actually reviewing a film, and the whole point of a review is someone's opinion. Like we all know, maybe the maker has made it for whatever reasons, and the person who's perceiving it, how do you perceive it to put it across? Having said that, I don't want to really review the film subject or the controversial content. I want to review it as a filmmaker, how a film has been made. There's a fundamental difference between that. Okay. See, one is the most striking thing I felt when I saw the film. It took me a very long time. Probably I would be lying if I say that I was concentrating on the content, because the way it's made it for me is actually a far more, I would, for a change, for a want of a better word, it just turned the entire belief system of the how me or scores of other filmmakers ever since they started making films believe that a film should be made like this in terms of a dramatic screenplay structure, or the way it is shot, the so-called shot division and the pacing of the edit or creating of the characters and the casting. Everything Vivek Agnihotri took it in the opposite direction. I frankly never seen a film which is more slow-paced than Kashmiri Files. And there is no attempt on the director's part to create drama. It is just as if those characters were existing wherever they were, and the camera just happened to be there capturing and moving at its own pace, and none of the actors, especially I would like to talk about Mr. Anupam Kher. Anupam Kher, one knows him for such a long time, ever since his path-breaking performance in Saransh, his first film. And post that, I have seen him in so many commercial Bollywood films where I almost think he's using his extraordinary talent just to mouth the lines and get out, and almost seeming disinterested. And after so many decades, I again saw him. I don't even know. Typically, when you see a commercial film, you always can make out actor has just come out of his air-conditioned makeup van, and you can just see the certain fakeness. Here it looks like he was there. He was there and as a character living, and the director has just captured him the way he was. That kind of a level of performance is something, it's extremely rare, if at all it ever happened, I think, in Indian cinema. Now coming back to what I was talking. Now, the context, a film, if you look at the beliefs 10 days before now, today is 19th of March, and 10 days before, on 10th of March, the entire film industry, including me, believed that only big budget films and visual effects extravaganza or big stars, only they can pull the audience into the theatres. And then on the 11th, Kashmiri Files released and just broke every rule in the book. It doesn't have stars. There is no intention on the director to impress the audience, which is what every filmmaker will be trying to do. He wants to impress. There's not a single scene. It looks as if it is being designed for effect. How can that happen? Because that goes against the fundamentals of what we learned about filmmaking. For example, some credit some of my films. There have been a kind of a path-breaking things I've done in Shiva and Satya. Maybe so, but I was still in a very much commercial format. Like the grip and the screenplay, dramatic characters, to constantly create drama, to engage the audience, is what I've done in Shiva or Satya or any of the films for that matter. Okay. Here that is completely absent. And then second thing is, most filmmakers assume the so-called commercial audience, mass audience. Why I'm using the word commercial again and again? See, if Kashmiri Files just was probably nominated for the Oscar entry, or maybe it worked in some niche audience, or it got some awards in some festivals, I don't think anyone will have a problem with it. But now the problem for the film industry regarding it is doing such humongous business almost on the level of Bahubali 2, and on the return of investment, I think it will be 10, 20 times bigger success than Bahubali 2, if not more. I mean, I'm just not calculating the numbers. Okay. So that is what is called a commercial hit. A commercial hit is something which makes a lots and lots of money, which is what it is done and is continuing to do. God knows where it will stop. Okay. So in because of that, so when it is still in the format of what we think, why a film will work, if it is in that, there won't be a problem, like I also already mentioned. Now, the fact it is going in the opposite direction is what is creating that. Like a writer friend of mine, he saw the film and he told me it is the worst film he has seen in his life, and he just couldn't believe why people are watching, and no one is able to come to an explanation that why this film is being watched in such a mad frenzy. Why? I think that hatred is not because he's an audience, it's because he's a filmmaker. It's related to writing of a film, or maybe structuring a film. And when something goes so reverse in the exact opposite direction, I think it will shake up people's belief about cinema. It did to me. You know, so the impact for me of Kashmir Files is going to be long after the film has collected whatever it will collect. Eventually it goes out of the theatres, because I don't think any director, any filmmaker from now onwards planning any new film cannot but study and refer back to Kashmiri Files, because because the film, I don't know if it can be called reinvented. I'm really running out of my terms. Reinvention always would come to, for example, when John Frankenheimer made this film with Robert De Niro after a very, very long time, they said the action was reinvented for me, because the technology changes. The technology changes every few years, and there will be reinvention of action, the way you shoot sounds and all that. So, but in that context, what for me, Kashmiri Files, I don't know first of all if it's a film. It's actually, for me, if I want to describe it, it is like a documentary / drawing room discussion / some Twitter exchanges and history lessons and giving lectures and speeches, and all this is again coming under the fundamental presumption of the director that the audience are intelligent. The audience are really interested in very serious subject matters. The audience are willing to listen to, no matter how much time you take to make the point, they're willing to listen to that. So there is no sense of hurriedness. No. So any director's biggest fear, including me, is to bore the audience, is to take too long to convey them. So all the time we have a tendency to hurry it up, to tell whatever we want to say and to move on in fear, because we're scared of losing the audience's attention, which is pretty much even the media does. TV news channels constantly want very dramatic background score to hold the point, and to use very high-pitched kind of dramatic lines to hold them, to grip them, because you're scared of losing. And here, in Kashmiri Files, the opposite is working. He's taking his own time. No one is going anywhere. And people are sitting in the theatre, looking at the screen with rapt attention. In fact, when I commented to a girl, don't you think it's too slow? She said, but that is the reason it's working, because it is giving me so much time to understand what I'm hearing and absorbing to what happened. So that for me is like I'm so tempted to use words like game changer or a reinvented or a whatever, but I don't think those words actually do justice to what it is actually doing in the theatres. So like I said, the content being liked, whether you hear conspiracy theories like this, because Narendra Modi endorsed it. Some states gave it a tax-free. Someone said to give it a holiday to all the people who want to see. I don't believe any of that is true, because that can do a very much. For example, simple thing I tell you, if Narendra Modi could influence these many millions of people to go into the theatre, why couldn't he do it to his own film, which was made sometime on PM Narendra Modi with Vivek? No one went to see that film, or not on this level. So someone recommending, I do not believe works. It is just kind of spread like a, I think fire, I won't like it, because fire gives you a very dramatic ending. I think it spread like a virus. Virus is not good in the context of complaining, because it's a negative thing. But that's the nearest I can say. The interest in the film spread faster and much more faster than Omicron virus, I think. Now, what it is doing in the context, it is suddenly making people take cinema very seriously. We always believed, me and my colleagues, everyone, we believed that cinema is supposed to be entertainment. Now comes a film where it is educating the industry that the audience can take film this seriously if the director takes it seriously. That is a big lesson, Whether this is a miracle which will never repeat again, I won't be knowing. Because if nobody could predict something like Kashmiri films, like a miracle like that will come, I don't know whether that can happen again, whether it will work. I don't know. I'm not an expert on that. But one thing I'll tell you for sure, because filmmaking in India will never be the same again post Kashmiri Files. Because like I said, you have to take it, whether you liked it or not. Eventually making it for the audience, you have to take it seriously. And there will be numerous attempts to make something similar. The reason being, no one can try to repeat a Bahubali 2 because it's too expensive and it is too time consuming and it is too many things going for, and very few people can even think in that direction or afford to think in that direction. Whereas Kashmiri Files is something, because of its low budget, and it requires only actors and not the so-called superstars who try to pull in the audience into the theatres. So it is kind of a aspiring filmmaker's dream to attempt. How many of them will succeed or not, like I said, we don't know. But it's going to start a parallel industry with extremely serious films where they don't want to attempt to appease to all kinds of masses. Not in one frame in Kashmiri Files I saw the director being either, forgetting desperate is a very strong word, even intending to please someone. He just expressed from what he felt, and it just came out, and people took it the way he expressed, which I think is, I won't even know how to describe it. Now as a filmmaker, I don't know if I'm confused. I don't know if I'm getting educated with Kashmiri Files. I don't know if it will reinvent me or make me rethink about how me or anyone should make films. Because application of this seems extremely dangerous even after it's been proved such a big success. Because you'll have to change your own mindset of what you think. Deliberately. In fact, I will tell you about a very famous producer who I know, who had this, a tendency to imitate, to kind of take, when a film becomes a very big hit, he wants to copy some things from that. And because he believes that is the state of mind of the audience at that time, and you need to adapt to it and try to copy and infuse elements from that into whatever film you're making. So asking these questions, what do you think you learned from, what you will take from Kashmiri Files? And he said, Ramu, I decided not to make films anymore. Because if I have to take anything out of Kashmiri Files, it goes against every belief system of mine which I've been living with the last 50 years. Which is true, which I believe is true for me too. Now the question is, nobody is saying that only this kind of cinema will work. That is not the point. All kinds of films might work in different levels in different times. But this is something which is a new thing. I think it's like a, I mean, imagine like everyone in India, every filmmaker of worth, anything will always assume the audience to be dumb. They just want to come and eat popcorn. They'll make comments and they'll keep texting on the phone. And once in a while they look at the screen and they like a song, they like some hero walking in slow motion and with music and all that. So it goes against it, which I've been repeating in this thing. So the point is, next time a Salman Khan flexing masters a Katrina Kaif's item number, kind of a great entertaining commercial masala soap films, if this picture can do better than that, with its serious storytelling, there is not an attempt even to get a single smile in the whole film, or neither a commercial song which is going to be a chartbuster, and just a chant of hum dekenge eliciting such kind of an emotion in the theaters. It just basically, Vivek Agnihotri, what it did is destroyed everything about whatever our people have learned or believed and are practicing in cinema. To that matter, to that, in the context of that, which is what I said, every filmmaker, like I know so many people who hated, they felt it was boring, they felt it was slow, but they can't stop talking about it in two ways. They don't understand why it is working. Second, they don't know what to do next after this. Like every so-called commercial film which looked very good in whatever way 10 days before, looks like fake, looks like old school, looks like some, it's like everything became old in just 1 week. 1 week since this film released, and the run it is having will of course make it even more harder. And so you just can't forget it. You can't, the commercial success and how it is being made, the content, like I said, it is for me very secondary, because I am affected by Kashmiri Files as a filmmaker. That's what I'm saying. So I want to end by saying this just one thing. I hate Kashmir Files because it destroyed whatever I learned, whatever I thought was right and whatever I thought was in, and multiple times. And I can't go back and to see. I can't reinvent myself and can't rethink now, oh, this is how it should be made. No, I can't. So I hate Kashmiri Files, whether it is a director and whether it is the acting styles, or it is the way the screenplay was made, or various other talents who are there present. I hate all of them because you guys made me and making most of the filmmakers, maybe all filmmakers, I would say, lose our identity suddenly. And we have to go back to the drawing board without believing in the drawing board of Kashmiri Files. At least if I'm given a chance to, let's make something like this. I don't believe any of us can do it with conviction the way this film got made. So I hate all the people who are associated with Kashmiri Files, but I love Vivek Agnihotri for making this happen. Thank you.